Hey everybody, movie reviewer next door here, and I'm back with another movie review. And this time it is for a film called The Substitute. I know it's kind of hard to see, but there's an Uzi on the table. Uh, this is an action thriller film, action drama. I'd say more action drama. Film directed by Robert Mandel from 1996, and it stars Tom Berenger, uh, Diane Venora, Ernie Hudson, Raymond Cruz, Mark Anthony, William Forsythe, Richard Brooks, Cliff DeYoung, and Glenn Plummer. Now, in this film, when an inner-city Miami school teacher gets her knee broken after standing up to the school's gang leader, her mercenary combat specialist boyfriend goes undercover as a substitute teacher to take down the punk. Soon he discovers a conspiracy of criminals at work and must reassemble his team from his last jungle raid to stop them. Now, what do I think of this film? Well, I've always really liked it. I don't think it's perfect. I do have some small issues that keep it from being a 10, but I do want to give this a 9 because every time I've seen it, I've always wondered what is really the issue with this film. Like substance-wise, I don't see what the issue is. It's tackling a very heavy subject. I think it tackles it quite well. But I guess I'll mention what I've seen other people online saying, and I'll mention not so much why they're completely wrong, but why what they're saying doesn't really make much sense. But let me get to the cast. Tom Berenger as Jonathan Shale. He's the main character. He's a mercenary. He does a pretty wonderful job in this film. I can't really pick out a moment where he suffered acting wise. He is the right look for this character because this film is clearly going for a more grounded type of action, grounded type of story where it's supposed to take place in real life. And while I do love a good action film that's like I was about to say John Wick. I guess John Wick style where it's like, oh, all this stuff is like impossible for most people to do and someone getting shot at but almost never getting hit. This film does it very well, and Tom Berenger is a very likable protagonist. He really is. And yeah, I've always liked him as an actor. Diane Venora as Jane Hetzko. She is his girlfriend? Jonathan Shale's girlfriend. I think she gets her leg hurt, so she's at home, and she doesn't know that he's working as a substitute in place of her for quite a bit of the movie. I've always liked Diane Venora. She was in The Jackal with Bruce Willis and Richard Gere. She was the Russian agent that was trying to find Bruce Willis's character. She is very funny in this. She has a lot of very nice scenes between her and Tom Berenger, or there are a lot of nice scenes between Jane and Jonathan, and they have very nice chemistry together, and yeah, she has quite a few really funny scenes between the two of them. Ernie Hudson as Claude Rollet. He is the principal. He does a great job, as always. I always like seeing him here in films like this. Raymond Cruz plays Joey Six. He's a buddy. He's one of the mercenaries. He has his moments where he's all right, but for the most part, he comes off kind of like he's forcing himself. I haven't. I know he's been in quite a few movies, but I just don't remember enough to say if I love him or not. Luis Guzman as Rem, he's good in the film. He's always good. Richard Brooks as Wellman, he's good. He's another one of the mercenaries. Mark Anthony as Juan Lacus. He's a singer. The actor Mark Anthony, or Mark Anthony. He's a singer who, I guess this was his film debut, maybe? I don't know. It's his first bigger role. Hackers was before this, but like his first bigger role, and he does a pretty admirable job. He's decently threatening. I actually buy him as like this kind of like in the ghetto like kind of character, and yeah, I think he did a good job. Uh, William Forsythe as Holland. He's another good actor in this film. He plays a crazy person basically, and Glenn Plummer, Daryl Sherman. He's a teacher. I always like seeing him, and Cliff DeYoung as Matt Wolfson. He's another character actor that I always like seeing. I love character actors. But yeah, this film. Let me finally get to talking about the film. It's one of those that a lot of these reviews they'll either say, "Oh, it's a white man's fantasy to just clean up the ghetto because black people can't do it," or some bullshit like that. I always hate seeing that argument because it's like these people don't understand that the character isn't doing it out of pity. He legitimately wants like when this character walking into the classroom the first day is mostly frustrated with the kids not listening to him, and then as they start to listen, he starts to understand the issues. Like they tell him about the issues like having to go to gang funerals and all that, and not wanting to work at a fast food joint for minimum wage, so they turn to this life mostly just to get by, which is an interesting way of looking at it. And he ends up like coaching them on how to be like law-abiding citizens, and I don't really see the issue there. Like people saying, "Oh, because he's white and a lot of the students are mixed race or whatever, that it's racist. It's a white man's fantasy or some bullshit like that." These people need to get a job. They need to like stop watching movies if you're going to be offended by every little thing that's not like that has a white person starring in it. Like you're looking at most movies, just shitting on a movie because a white person stars in it is ridiculous. Um but yeah, like yeah, here you go. I have always avoided the substitute thinking it was some sort of misguided uh I've always avoided the substitute thinking it was some sort of misguided fascistic white savior hybrid of the principal class of 1984 Stand and Deliver, sort of Paul Kersey in Sixter Act 2. Like I don't understand these idiots. As dumb and racist as a canon movie but less fun. Like nothing in this film is racist. I actually did comment on this person's thing. I hope he'll get back to me. I said, please point out a single solitary scene of this film that is racist. Nothing in the film is racist. I'm saying that right now. But yeah, this film. Let me actually get to talking about it instead of ranting. This is when I said down to earth, this feels like a more realistic action film. Now, again, is it wall-to-wall action? No. It is mostly a drama. For like the first hour and 15 minutes of this hour and 55-minute film, it is mostly, drama and like telling a compelling story, setting up everything. Kind of in the way The Punisher 2004 was, which The Punisher 2004, it worked for that and it works here because the characters, the story, everything that's going on is very engrossing, at least to me. It seems like it's not to other people. But like I always like to see films done in this way very well. There are movies that don't do it well, where they basically skimp out on the action and it feels like it's more for budgetary reasons than, oh, we're having a slow burn to build up to the gigantic climax, and the climax is really just not that good. That happens in a lot of Hollywood movies. But like I wish more Hollywood movies were like this, because like this one is actually very interesting. It's very well made. Um, if I have any issues, I don't know if this is to do with the film. I'm like with how it's made. If I had any issues, there are certain scenes that are a bit fuzzier than others. There are certain scenes that I don't know if this was like certain shots were cut out for a version of the film and then they were put back in later but not remastered. Kind of like My Bloody Valentine for the longest time, the like cut gore scenes on the Lionsgate DVD look like shit because they didn't clean them up. It kind of feels like that here sometimes, and there are certain shots that are a little bit out of focus, but I don't know if that's or it looked out of focus, so I don't know if it was or if it was just bad transfer. For the most part, this film looks really good. I watched it on Tubi. Um, I hope that the series of films, even though I don't love all of them, I remember the third one being okay, and the second and fourth one being decent. Um, I still wish that they would get like a a special edition release from someone, maybe Lionsgate, because I don't think the first film is on Blu-ray. I think it's only on DVD, which is a shame. Um, but yeah, this film is more down to earth. The reason I say that is because they're not trying to do like show offy martial arts or showing off fight scenes, or even the like gunfighting scenes are not like super complex. It's more realistic. There's like a very tactical spin on this action, and that's part of what I thought was missing from most of the sequels, because most of the sequels just felt like, oh, small setup for action movie, and that's not exactly what I want in this series. And I feel like when a film like The Substitute, you start off a series like that where it's like doing its own thing apart from other action movies of the time, um, you should follow through with that in the sequels and add like a new spin on it, which I guess the fourth one did, having it instead take place at like a military school with like a group of skinheads, which was interesting. It was definitely interesting. Um, like, do more stuff like that. Because most of the sequels, it just felt like, oh, we're doing what the first film did, just with different people. And it's a different character. It's not Jonathan Shale. I forgot what the name of the character was, and it's played by Treat Williams. But this film, when it does get to the action scenes, they're decently well done. I will say that. I I like that they decided to do a more grounded in reality style with the action, where it's mostly tactical. They're like hiding behind cover. They're doing surprise attacks. Um, there's even a point where I guess this scene was kind of like that, where there's Cliff DeYoung's character is looking to hire a mercenary, and this one mercenary comes in and he has an audition tape, and he's doing all of this like Rambo type shit, which is like super unrealistic in this world, super unrealistic. And there's a part where the merc in the tape uses piano wire on a unsuspecting bad guy, and then Jonathan just starts laughing, which I did find that funny. It felt like it was making fun of like the Arnold style of action, Schwarzenegger style of action, Stallone, Dolph Lundgren, Van Damme, which I do love a lot of those movies. I do. But it is funny to see someone make fun of it without like saying, without the movie being like, oh, all those movies were shit because they're fun. No, they're great because they're fun. That's how I see it. If a movie's fun, then I'm most likely going to give it a good review. And this movie is. Even, like, here's the thing. There are a lot of movies that this gets compared to. This gets compared to The Principal, which I've never seen, Class of 84, 99, 187, which I thought was terrible. I hated 187 with Samuel L. Jackson. I never saw Lean on Me. I guess Run, Hide, Fight's a similar thing. I would say I like Run, Hide, Fight more than this, because I think it's a bit more consistent with all the different ingredients, and Run, Hide, Fight is tense as fuck. Like you're in the middle of the action for really most of the movie, and it's really intense. Dangerous Minds with Michelle Pfeiffer, I never got into because, to be honest, I don't buy Michelle Pfeiffer as a Marine at all. If there's any actor you could have put in that role that would have probably worked better, there's Kathleen Turner. I would have liked to have seen Kathleen Turner beating the fuck out of students or like doing karate. That would have been interesting. But yeah, there are a lot of movies that this gets compared to like those, and I really don't see it. This is the lowest rated of most of those movies. There's a film that's technically, I guess, a remake called Lesson Plan, which I did do a short review. It was before I was doing longer reviews from 2022. Yeah, I really hated it. I really tore into it in my review, and I still maybe I'll re-review it after I'm finished with this series because I do kind of want to do all of the series. Um, I'll have to take a break though because I do have some stuff going on in my life. I'll have to take a bit of a break in order to get back to it. There's just stuff going on in my life that I'm gonna have to take a break from. So I will do like a short video explaining all that. But yeah, um, with this film, I think this film does what Dangerous Minds, what 187, and all those types of movies should have been doing, which was not lecturing the audience on all of this, but rather, getting to like these characters. Because Dangerous Minds, it felt like, oh, it was supposed to be like an acting vehicle for Michelle Pfeiffer, like it was going to be like an Oscar thing. Which, with this film, because it doesn't focus entirely on the action, and it's like the first half is basically just a drama about all of this stuff happening. There's like a fight scene or two in it, but the second half like turns into a full on like thriller action thriller like thing. Basically a war film in the school. But like I like that. It's doing something different. It's not boring at all. I actually got really sucked into the characters, especially Tom Berenger's character and his wife. I really liked her. So like I can forgive a lot of things. Even then, when I say forgive, I can't really think of a lot of things that I hated in the film. I can't at all. Other than Raymond Cruz, like I'm not a big fan of his acting here. Other than that, there's like the music. The music from let me see. Gary Chang. Um I don't know this composer, I guess, but it feels like he's using very early MIDI instruments, like fake instruments on a computer, or maybe he's using like a Casio keyboard or something, because a lot of the music in this sounds really bad. That's like one of the biggest issues because it does take me out of certain scenes because the music is either overdone or it's underdone, and it just legitimately feels like it's being played on a Casio keyboard. But other than that, and Raymond Cruz, like I really, really, really love this movie. It's so close to being a 10 it hurts. But yeah, um, but yeah, watch this instead of Lesson Plan. I don't even know if Lesson Plan's even like considered a full on remake. It's listed as that on IMDb. There's no Wikipedia page for it to say that it's a remake, but whatever. Get to the pros and cons. The most of the cast: Tom Berenger, Raymond Cruz, not Raymond Cruz. Tom Berenger, Mark Anthony, William Forsythe, Luis Guzman, Diane Venora, Ernie Hudson, Richard Brooks, Glenn Plummer, Cliff DeYoung all do great jobs. The action again is very down to earth. It's very realistic, very tactical, and I always enjoy a good tactical action movie. I like balls to the wall action too, but you don't see tactical action that often, and I wish that somebody would do a Hitman movie in that kind of way, where it's all like tactical and all that. I wish. The soundtrack is pretty cool. Not the score, but the soundtrack has some nice rap songs, some really nice tracks I'll have to look up and add to my playlist, certain ones of them. Um, uh, I really liked that the film actually addressed, like, there's a scene where Glenn Plummer's like, "You think you're gonna come into the school, be our our white knight in shining armor," basically saying that, and he's like, "No, I'm just thinking of the kids and all that." I actually do like that they brought that up. I thought that was interesting, um, and thinking like he was that character that like basically comes over to his side. He's like, you you just want to put black men out of you hate seeing a black man in power, so you're trying to take him down, and then it turns out the black man in power is bad. So yeah, like I actually like when plot twists like that are um well constructed. But yeah, um, again, cons. Raymond Cruz, didn't really care for him in the film. Um, I kind of wish Luis Guzman was in that role, but I hate to say this, but he is kind of a big guy, so I don't really buy him being sneaky, and that's Raymond Cruz's thing. He's a bit sneaky. He's the sniper. So yeah, it's a bit hard to take that seriously. No wait. I think Luis Guzman was the sniper. Wait, yeah, that is weird. But yeah, um, and again, the score from Gary Chang was not that great. But other than that, I really love the movie. I've got the film linked in the description. It's on Tubi. I think it's even on. It says Amazon. It's on Freevee, Pluto TV, Plex, and Tubi. Um, yeah, you can buy it on Amazon. Yeah, you can buy a DVD with the first and third movie. Why would you want the first and third? Whatever. But yeah, hope you enjoyed the review for The Substitute. Like, comment, subscribe down below, and movie reviewer next door out.